Downtown areas in many American cities were once the vibrant hearts of urban life, bustling with activities, commerce, and culture. However, over the years, many American downtowns have undergone significant transformation, becoming shadows of their former selves. Not only that, traffic congestion have gotten even worse, and its consequences are profound. It leads to wasted time, increased pollution, and economic losses. The causes of traffic congestion are multifaceted, including a high dependency on personal vehicles, inadequate public transportation, and poor urban planning. But what if I told you there's a solution? In this video, we're going to explore how micromobility can be the answer to some of the problems plaguing our cities. So what is micromobility? Tech analyst Horace Didio, I didn't probably pronounce his name correctly, originally coined the term back in 2017. It's all about small light vehicles like e-scooters, e-bikes, and more. Basically anything smaller than a car. I recently attended Micromobility America event and had a chance to check out some of these vehicles and interview some attendees to get insights into this urban revolution.
As major cities are below 20 miles per hour as their average speed, why have a vehicle that goes at that speed? Why not have something that's a little bit below that speed, which is micromobility?
I'm 65 years old. I'm thinking about when I have to be on a fixed income when I retire. This is so exciting to me to think that I could get around without using a car all the time.
The mantra of people here that come to this conference is replacing those 50% of car trips that are under kind of 3-4 miles. We've just got to keep eating into those trips and getting them done on light electric vehicles, yeah.
So how did micromobility come to be? Well, micromobility vehicles aren't exactly a new concept. Bikes and scooters have been in use since the 19th century. But in the early 20th centuries, cars began to dominate most Western cities as primary method of transport. This car-dependent cultures led to the abandoning of downtown area for suburb, increasing trip time, congestion, and air pollutions. The emergence of micromobility as a concept is really to address the problems caused by cars. A research conducted by the Bureau of Transportation found that 52% of all trips are less than 3 miles, with 28% less than 1 mile. If just a fraction of those trips were replaced by bikes and scooters, cities would experience less traffic congestions and reduce emissions. COVID and the rise of remote work have contributed immensely to the rise of micromobility. A study by Gensler found that during the pandemic, sales of e-bikes grew by 190% and sales of e-scooters grew by 61%, while public transport ridership decreased. The flexibility of micromobility vehicles and decreased satisfaction with public transit might be driving urban residents to explore alternative transportation options. So how do we implement micromobility to alleviate the problems plaguing our cities? Well, first we have to make people want to use micromobility. So what makes people want to use them? Well, they have to be safe and convenient.
More people are interested in e-scooters and e-bikes in general. If they feel comfortable riding, as the bike infrastructure gets better, then I think we'll see a lot more adoption.
To be safe, you have to make the infrastructure safe to ride around. This means dedicated bike lanes and signals, not like these bike lanes where you have to worry about getting ran over by 18-wheelers. To be convenient, you need to have bike infrastructures located conveniently to other transit options to make it easier to go around. Let's take a look at cities where micromobility is thriving and find out why it works so well for them. An obvious example is Amsterdam, known as the bicycle capital of the world. But the city wasn't always bike-friendly. In the early 20th centuries, bicycles were immensely popular throughout the Netherlands, only to experience a decline with the advent of automobiles. In fact, large swaths of the cities were destroyed to make way for cars. There was even plans to fill the famous Canal of Amsterdam with concrete, and urban planners envisioned Amsterdam in 2000 will look like this. Not much different from modern-day Dubai. In 1971, over 3,300 people in the Netherlands were killed by motorists, including more than 400 children. This sparked Stop the Kindermoord protests, which translate to Stop the Infanticide. These protests gained momentum throughout the 1970s, compelling politicians to take actions. Pro-cycling policies were introduced, prompting a gradual decline of car-centric culture. One such example was the introduction of traffic circulation plan in 1978, which called for the closure of certain streets to cars, reduction of parking spaces, and give priority to pedestrians and cyclists. The transition was further accelerated by substantial increase in fuel price. Today, bicycles reign supreme in Amsterdam, deep embedded in Dutch culture. Its cities are as vibrant as ever and congestions are extremely low. In fact, Netherlands is the best country in the world to drive in. It's the smallest average annual time spent in rush hours and highest driver satisfaction score. All this was possible because the country put priority on cyclists and pedestrians and made it safe and convenient to operate a micromobility vehicle. Although it's so prevalent in Amsterdam and much of Europe, riding a bike or scooter for utility is still not very mainstream in most of the US, outside of very few large cities. An American city that has implemented this very well is Portland, Oregon. Portland's affinity for bikes started 120 years ago. Take a look at its cycling map from 1896. By 1900, there were more than 59 miles of bike path in Portland. That's 1 mile for every 1,500 people, a ratio better than modern-day Amsterdam. Portland, like other American cities, saw a decline in biking with the advent of automobile. In the 1960s, revolts against highway construction broke out across the US. How did Oregon respond to this? In 1971, the governor signed a bike bill, which required 1% of all highway funds to be spent on infrastructure for cyclists. In 1993, Portland became the first US cities to adopt a climate action plan. Currently, the city is implementing the fourth such plan. A key piece to the plan is to increase bike use, and the city is experimenting with a variety of dedicated bike signals, lanes, and bridges. This infrastructure has brought back vibrancy to many of the city's neighborhoods. The city also hosts many workshops and community events to raise awareness about the benefit of micromobility. Currently, 1 in 12 Portlanders commute using bikes, the highest in the nation. Portland is also among the cleanest US cities by short-term particle pollution. However, the city still have a long way to go. In fact, the percentage of people commute using bike in Portland has slightly decreased in the last few years. COVID forced many people to work from home. Another effect of COVID was increasing crime, which made people less comfortable with leaving out their bikes in public. Even though Portland's downtown and surrounding area has very extensive bike infrastructure, the entire metro is still very much car-centric. This is reflective of a greater problem throughout the United States. Car culture is deeply embedded in our culture, and the present infrastructure makes it difficult for anything other than a car to thrive. Due to congestions, noise, and air pollution, car is no longer a sustainable option as the population of our cities continue to grow. At this rate, we will continue to lose valuable space, walkabilities, and what remains of the fresh air we breathe. Micromobility might be the best option to help reverse these problems. Ultimately, a shift towards a more micromobility-friendly America requires a collaborative effort among governments, businesses, and communities. Mobility is freedom, and it is in our human nature to be free. We hope this video inspired you to take action so we can move around more freely and the world become cleaner in the future. As always, this is Fatco Media. We'll see you on the next video.